Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Pits of Motorcast. This is your host, Dave. Tonight I got a line, a special guest on the line with me, Mathew Leonard, driver of the Nitro Rat Fuel Altered. How you doing, Matthew?
How we going today, mate? Doing well?
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome, good to hear.
So, Matthew, let me go back in time with you and ask you, how did you get into drag racing?
I was born and bred into the industry. My dad's one of the pioneers of drag racing in Australia. My mum was a drag racer in Australia. My brother drag races in Australia, and grew up in a speed shop. All of my youth, selling horsepower and helping other people and customers, and chased your dream to come to America and run professionally over here.
So how long you been racing in America now?
I came over in '96 originally, running an alcohol funny car with another fellow Adelaide guy, and people don't know from Adelaide, Australia. But Robert Schwab, so I came over raced with him on the Sitka circuit on the west coast of America. Went back to Australia and raced with another gentleman back there, Matt Abel. He owned one of my dad's old race cars, raced with my dad at the same time, and then came back in '99, and Robert had built a nitro funny car and moved to Salt Lake City, and we started '99 on the nitro circuit.
Now, when did you start driving the Fuel Altered?
I built my car in '04, finished it in '07, ran on alcohol, and then 2012, my brother was over from Australia, and I didn't have the compression that I wanted in my motor running on an alcohol, and we were trying to run a little bit harder at Rocky Mountain Raceway, our local racetrack, and Scott Stanger had just bought a nostalgia funny car, and unfortunately his fire extinguishers went off, and he wasn't going to use his nitro, so we went next door and grabbed about a few gallons of nitro, about 30%, tipped it into an 11.5 compression blown altered engine, and went from there. And took me several years later to get back to nitro, but that was the first dip into nitro for the car that I've presently got at the moment.
Now you mentioned Robert Schwab earlier, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Now he currently drives a nitro funny car?
Yeah, he's actually, he's had a couple. Phil Burkhardt has driven his latest one that he still has now, but Robert's also driven that. But yeah, he's got a car that's ready to go. He's just needs another driver and a bit of extra funding, and that's one of my next paths, is to find a bit of extra funding and maybe step into that one of these days, or whatever we can find.
Into the NHRA?
Yeah, that'd be, it's always the goal to go faster and, as quick as fast as you possibly can, and we've just got to find a little bit of extra backing and see if we can make that happen.
Oh, yeah, it's always good to try to be the underdog and run with the big dogs and, try to win,
Yeah, you've got to, have a couple of goals and a bit of a carrot out there to try and get it. So we'll do a little bit more with the fuel altered and keep running that for a lot of years. But if I can sit myself with a nitro funny car and stab the throttle and steer it on down there, we'll give that a go also. But it just takes cubic dollars to make that happen.
Yeah. So how did the name Nitro Rat come about?
It's actually stems from my dad originally. We'd be at Adelaide International Raceway, wee hours of the morning, and all the kids go running around, and it was time to go home, and Dad would yell out "rat" because it was a hell of a lot quicker than saying Matthew, and so rat was my nickname back in Australia for many a year, and come over here and, well, you start running nitro, and to really be Nitro Rat, you've got to run nitro, and that's where the Nitro Rat character and logo came from.
Ah, very good. Now, do you know Baz Young?
I've never met Baz, no, but I've seen him, race his car over here, and he went back to Australia and for a little bit.
Yeah.
I believe he was the main snap-on rep back in Australia for a while, and he had a good amount to do with Graham Cowan. He's another guy still achieving as we all try and do and have fun racing.
Now, do you know any of those drivers that are in Australia now with the Aeroflow group?
Yeah, I do actually. Several of them. It's a good thing about drag racing. It's we're worldly, but we're able to keep in contact with most of us and cross paths here and there. Josh Lay is I've had him over here staying at my place, and he's driving for GC in one of the cars down in the Bandit car, and Daryl is Walford is his to-be father-in-law. I built a nitro funny car for Daryl many years ago to run that program. And you got Greg Lay, which is Josh's dad, and it's a good it's a great community. It's actually a great circuit, the Aeroflow program. I'd love that program to come over here, and I've sort of modelled my fuel-altered fuel combination and everything else based off of that sort of tune-up that I developed for Daryl's car, and run that sort of successfully over here, and I've now got the combination where it's pretty consistent, reliable, and it'll repeat without hurting itself. I've just got to build a new chassis now to be able to make myself feel safe in that car, because the old one's a little bit fatigued. But hopefully come the new year I will have a new chassis, and but with a still similar look to what I've had previously.
So what size fuel pump you have on that fuel altered?
So the rules for Aeroflow is like 34 gallons maximum, which I think is a great volume to be able to deliver to run 6.0 or even a little bit quicker. So mine's a 34 gallon, and I run my car on the 6.0 fuel oil program, but then I'll also run it in competition eliminator, and I'll switch it over to alcohol, and same chassis and everything else, but I do a whole lot of changes to make that be competitive within that division also. I think it might be the only car in the world running two brackets, two different fuels on a professional circuit. So it's a bit of a unique little challenge that I've got going on at the moment. But to your point, 34 gallons, slow the blower down a hell of a lot, because the blower I've got is too efficient. It's a 1471 for that sort of principle. Then it works perfect for the combination, and the motor comes back pretty clean now, which is it's nice. It's good when you don't have to continue to throw parts of the thing.
So 34 gallons. So you're throwing out some pretty good header flames.
Actually, not yet. I've got a few more runs, and I'll be able to get it so the exhaust temperatures are up in that level where they're actually going to put out some flames. But too dull of an engine flame front in each combustion chamber. It doesn't really put out a good enough flame. So I'm trying to get it around about the 1300 degree mark, 1400 degree mark, and then it will produce a good bang and a good flame, and hopefully the candles will be lit all the way down the track and show me the way how to get down there, which is a fun little experience to have header flames at night. And I've only really experienced a couple of times up in Boise, and because we run at night up there, it's a good thrill. Running at night is with header flames. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what the fans like to see.
Yeah, me too.
Now, with that fuel alter that you have, would you be able to put a funny car body onto that?
I can, yeah. When I designed this vehicle, and I built it and so forth, I set the roll cage up a touch. So, I'm a taller guy, so I could see a bit more. For me there's a few other things which restrict me from putting a body on it. So if I did put a body on it, it would probably sit up a little bit high on the rear. But that was never the goal with this car. Actually, the only time I think I'd ever put a funny car body on it, and I'd probably mirror it after Graham Cowan's High Performance World Corvette that he ran back in Australia many a year ago. Unfortunately, it was a very short-lived car. It burnt to the ground in Castlereagh. But that, I thought, was always one of the toughest cars out there. But for that, I've got to have a slightly lower roll cage. So this chassis wouldn't really be able to do that, unfortunately. But it's pretty much the new chassis I build or buy. I've got a couple of options at the moment. I'll probably, if I build it, I'll build an exact replica of what I've got at the moment, just bigger diameter tubing, thicker wall tubing, so it can withstand the rigors of what I'm doing with it at the moment. But still, that wouldn't really accommodate a funny car body properly. Might just have to find another car to do that project to.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty neat to run a funny car and go run in funny car chaos.
What was that again? Sorry.
I said it would be pretty neat for you to get a funny car and run in with the, have you heard of funny car chaos?
Yeah, his funny cars are fun. I've driven them before.
I mean, have you heard of the event called Funny Car Chaos?
No.
Yeah, the Funny Car Chaos is a funny car event where you can bring any kind of funny car you have, as long as it's a funny car. It could be a big show funny car. It could be alcohol, nostalgia, any kind of funny car. As long as you got a funny car body, you can run it.
Did you say funny car chaos?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I have heard of that. I didn't know the premise of it. I didn't know what could be bought and what couldn't be bought. Okay, yeah, that'd be a blast. But whatever is out there, I'll drive in a heartbeat. Just gotta shoehorn me into a chassis and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, the Funny Car Chaos is a run what you brung.
Yep. And that's one thing I like about the 6.0 fuel altered program. You can pretty much have a transformer fuel altered. You're going to have a nostalgic fuel altered. You're going to have one that's in the middle, which is a bit like mine. As long as you get 80% nitro, 125-inch wheelbase, and supercharged, don't run faster than 6 seconds, and off you go. Go and have some fun. Run within your budget. So you've got cars that run like the 540s, but they click them off early and keep Wilson. You run a 621 is what he ran at the March meet last year, and didn't qualify for the quickest fuel altered 6.0 fuel altered field. So you got great diversity in that 6.0 fuel altered bracket. It's reachable. A lot of people can go and run that bracket and not have to break the bank to make it happen, which is brilliant. I'll keep supporting it as long as I've got a few coins in my pocket.
So now, what's the quickest pass you've made with the fuel altered, Matthew?
611 at 230, because we're trying to run 6 seconds. Will it run a lot faster than that? Yes, and that's rich. That's no ignition. I actually ran that with 24 degrees of timing in it, and a nitro motor. People that know nitro, blown combination, they need to be around about 45 and above to get enough lead into them so they're going to be actually burn the fuel correctly. But my thing, I don't have a clutch in it. I've actually got a converter drive. So I've got a Neil Chance billet converter with a quick drive behind it, and then a 3 6-speed B&J transmission on the backside of that. So I think that might be the only automatic fuel altered in the world also. So for me to get that to idle right and not produce too much power, because if it idles too high, it's an absolute pain to get it from reverse to drive, and then vice versa. So I pulled a bunch of timing out of it and ran about 23, 24 degrees, but at 611, 230, but the problem with that is I think I had like 60% overdrive on the supercharger and crap load of fuel. But since it was burning so late, it ended up splitting the main caps on 2, 3, and 4. So it was basically hydraulicking the motor, which is never fun, of course. So I had to weaken the supercharger the next time I took it out, because it was a 1471, so it was just pushing way too much air, way too much power. And now it's actually a nice combination where I've got about 45 to 50 degrees in it, and the motor's a hell of a lot happier with the combination. I just had to completely back up on it and come back at it in a different direction. And now it's ready to run. Now I just need a bloody chassis to make it happen.
Now, when you run the altered on alcohol, what's the fastest you've gone with the alcohol?
646 at 211. So we're about 6/10 under the index. Fortunately, we're up in Boise at the start of the year, and the national records all got reset, and I just happened to be right place, right time, and we actually reset the national record for the AA AM class up there. But, you know, we're restricted on supercharger, which a lot of other brackets are, but I can only run a standard helix, standard cast case supercharger, and most of the superchargers out there now are all billet case. So I can't run a billet case, so I'm restricted to old stock. So I've got to modify the hell out of mine to try and make the air that it's got to move to be competitive in that bracket. So hopefully, once we rebuild the new car and change the engine combination a little bit, and the supercharger's a whole lot more efficient now, I'm hoping to dip into the 30s in the right scenario, right air, because the combination's pretty damn close to being a hitter. You just got to get the driver into gear, which is me, and make sure I do the tuning and the driving the way I'm supposed to. We should run pretty strong at either Vegas or Boise, which is our two main tracks we go to, or even if we work it out right, maybe hit the World Finals next year in Pomona and check that off the bucket list also.
So now, Matthew, what is your favorite track to race on?
Well, you've got different situations. You know, Boise is a great family racetrack. Love racing up there. You know, you've got a bit of nightlife there, but it is just the new families are brilliant. I love racing in Boise. Loved racing out of Rocky Mountain Raceway. It was home. It was, you know, 20 minutes from my house, so that was always great, but not to be anymore. They decided that the track needed to be scraped and they needed to put more warehouses up because, you know, sarcastically, yeah, we need more warehouses. But Vegas is brilliant. You know, there's so much to do down there. Bakersfield is obviously a great historic track. You know, raced in Denver, love it over in Denver. Got family there, so I got to go with a split between Vegas and Boise, to be quite honest. Both different characteristics, but both enjoyable on their own realm.
Now, Matthew, are there any drag racers that have inspired you over the years?
Oh, many. You know, anybody that wants to strap themselves into a car in general and try and give themselves a bit of a thrill. You know, you always got to back them up. But you know, of course, my dad, you know, my mum. My mum was probably one of the first ladies to drive a blown old hood in Australia in a blown car. Then you've got the likes of, your Graham Cowans. I ran his top fuel team over here for years. And your Connie Colettas. And when I was 16, I said to myself, if I ever wanted to run professionally in America, I wanted to do it with, Graham Cowan and Connie Coletta. And lo and behold, I ran Cowan's team, and, we set world records, which we still have, quickest, fastest teenager in the world. 46 at 3:13, and then got invited over to the Coletta top fuel team and won national events over there, and so pretty much achieved a bit of the bucket list there. But you've got your Ian Splats out of Australia, you've got your Jim Reeds and your Santo Rapasados, and your from the Adelaide side of it, your Jeff Pratts, so many. And then you've got all your super stockers and your pro stock guys. Whoever's out there racing, a lot of them have always helped drive me just in different realms of understanding different engineering aspects of each field. So, whoever races, and they've been a driving force.
Now, who are the crew members for your Altered?
I've actually got several guys, but the mainstay, great friends, Mike Gable and Scott Slishman. Mike's in real estate, and Scott's restaurant business. And then they've got a few other guys. The Lockharts come and help out, and then I've got Andrew Slishman that comes and helps. Another great chef, and Scott Albert, and my brother flies in, my sister-in-law, my wife comes, Lisa, my daughter comes. So we're a good broad band, and I go back many a year where several other crew members that have always been involved, and now they've got their own cars also. So it's fun who you get introduced, and and where they come from. It's always nice to be able to allow them to be able to enjoy the sport that I love and a lot of us love, and let them give a taste of it.
So how old is your daughter?
Just gone, coming up to 13. So she loves coming racing. She'll jump in the driver's seat with me when we're towing back. It's a bit harder now since we go to the local track. She loves the racing scene. Unfortunately, we don't have a track for her to go do junior dragsters at, so now all the budget just goes to me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I got to fulfill my passion.
Yeah. So now, Matthew, after all the years of drag racing, what still keeps you passionate about doing this?
A lot of it is the people that you meet, that you're involved with, but it's all about the thrill that you get personally with it. The engineering side of it. It's not just one element. There's so many that allows you to keep coming back. The financial side of it. That's always a burden, but you get so much a return from a driver standpoint. I get that return. From a tuning standpoint, I get a return on it. From the engineering standpoint, the logistics of it all, how are you going to make it happen? It's not just a simple plug-and-play deal. It's a total challenge from front to back to make this sort of program come together. It's not easy, which that's probably one of the main things that drives me to keep doing it. It's something that I'm very, I understand a lot of, so when you understand a lot, you might as well try and exceed in that, and I'm trying to get as much out of this as I can and keep the mind ticking over while the mind still functions.
Do you have any sponsors?
I do. Mainly my wife. and me, of course. But I do have support. Mike and Scott, they both give up time to come racing, as all the other friends do. So they're sponsors in essence, the people that want to come and race. But we've got Clean Boost Oils, which is a local Salt Lake company. They make a phenomenal oil. B&J Transmissions, they make probably the strongest transmission in the market for what we're doing out in this racing business. A couple of other restaurants, Angry Goat and Gable Realty, and the speed shop many years ago when Mum and Dad had it, they sold it last year, and friends and family are the main ones. Mainly all comes out of my pocket, and I'm glad that I've got people that want to support. You always want to be able to promote many other names. I haven't really searched for that before. Maybe I'll search for a sponsor soon. I'm not sure. Unless somebody wants to put their hand up and come and play. If whoever wants to come and run fuel alters with me, we need a chassis.
So now, how many events did you run this year?
Started at the March meet. From there, we went to, that was on Nitro. We went to Vegas after that. We switched the whole combination over to alcohol. And that's a bit of a task on its own. And then we ran Boise after that. So that would have been March in Bakersfield, April in Vegas, May in Boise. And then, since we didn't have anything locally, didn't run again until August, where we flipped everything back over to Nitro again, and ran it pretty hard. After I come back after that event, I noticed there were a few more cracks in the chassis, and that started to tear the mounts back out of it and twist the rear diff housing. So I decided to pretty much park it after that and find out what direction I needed to go in. I normally would have converted the back over to alcohol and ran the Vegas national event again, but I didn't feel comfortable pulling the chutes at 211 mile an hour and thinking the diff was still going to be in the chassis after I pulled the chutes. So the decision was made to park it, and I still went to the event down in Vegas just to scope out what the latest and greatest chassis designs and what's going to evolve with the new one, because the old chassis is several years old now and things have changed. So to answer your question, 4 events. Should have been another one, not 2, but we'll see what the new chassis brings in the new year, what we're going to hit in 2020. If I can get it all done by February, we will hopefully hit March meet. And then I won't hit Vegas, unfortunately. I'll be out of the country for that one. But then if it's done, Boise again, and see what else is around. Maybe Denver might want us for a Nitro match meet. And then Boise again for Nitro, and I don't know. See what 2020 brings us. So we'll see what's in my hip pocket to be able to spend on it.
So now the few events that you did race this year, how the Alter run for you?
Yeah, pretty good. Vegas was good. We achieved. We ran into the 40s, and then up in so Boise we ran. Sorry, I'll back up. First event in Bakersfield, ran 41. Had to pedal it 3 times to get it down there. So we would have been on about a 6-1 run, but pedaling it 3 times, obviously hurt the ET. I qualified 10th for an 8-car field, and that was the quickest 6.0 fuel altered field in history. Ran strong in Vegas, not strong enough. Boise ran great. Driver messed up, had a red light first round, so I've got to work on that to not do that later on. But then went to Boise for Nitro again, ran strong up there. Crept up on the combination. Every run was exactly what it was supposed to be. I got a little bit greedy going into round 1. I bumped the nitro percentage up by about 5%, plus a couple of other things, and struck the tyres on the heel of the throttle, pedalled it 3 times, and Yeah, it still ran decent, but just not well enough. But the car come back clean, which is important, except for a couple of broken welds in the chassis, which hence the cause it to park the car and look at building a new car for 2020.
So now, Matthew, what was your first experience like driving a fuel altered?
A lot of fun. Yeah, that go back to 2012 when we ran a nice train for the first time. It was fire it up, it was only 30%, but you had enough compression in it. Big ass burnout, pulled up at about 1,000 foot mark, and by that time the idle had gone up about 600 RPM from where it was. Backing up and just the banging that just thumps back through the chassis and through you. It's a different feel altogether. And got on the high side to fuel it up to the step of the throttle, stabbing hitting the accelerator and walking on out there. It's a good thrill that you only ever know until you've done it. The alcohol is great. Nitro is just a different element altogether. You can feel a different sense that you don't get unless you strap yourself in and done it. I recommend it for anyone.
Now, when you're out on a track, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions? Do you have to do anything the same way all the time?
Make sure there's oil in the engine and make sure there's fuel in the tank. Apart from that, no, I'm not superstitious in any way. Just keep basic driving routines and procedures repetitive, but wear certain colour underpants and stuff like that, no. Don't believe in it. I will, as long as you've got your procedures set that everybody knows what they're supposed to do on the car, and that's all I abide by. Repeat that side of it, and then you can normally get good results.
Now, do you do quarter mile racing or do you do eighth mile too?
I'll race anything. Don't care. I'll race to 60 foot. Doesn't matter. I'm not biased in any way. I'll race a car that's 20 seconds down the quarter mile, and I'm driving it. Don't care. I do not. I'm not a 1,000 footer. I'm not a 1320. I'm not a 600, 660. Don't care. As long as it's out of the racetrack, and you're enjoying it, and you're having fun, you got a smile on your face. That's what it's about.
Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
I've got a blend. I've got Simpson and DJ Safety. Alan Bridges at Simpson does great by me. Ben at DJ Safety does great by me also. Both have phenomenal products. And never skimp on any of the safety side of it. But DJ Safety mainly is what I have these days, and they're awesome to work with.
Yeah, Big Ben.
Yep, exactly. Great man.
Now, throughout your drag racing career, have you had any accidents?
Self-induced and non-self-induced. Yeah, I had one in actually Rocky Mountain where a guy blew an oil line. Frank Davison was his name. And he climbed the right-hand wall, and we're only running the 8th mile at that time because we had strong crosswinds. And he came flying across in front of me. And luckily I saw it out of the corner of my eye, so I grabbed a whole lot of brake. And his parachute ended up getting caught in my front wing, and I able to slow him down with that. But a couple of self-induced ones, just stupid driver stuff. Another burnout at Rocky Mountain, all the way down into the racetrack. Backed up a little bit quick because I was starting the show on a solo and put it in the top gear, and I didn't have my hand on the brake. I gave it a bit of a rev. So I'm backing up at a pretty decent, click. And unfortunately, the steering got a bit of a wobble. So before I knew it, the car's pirouetting on the left-hand rear slick, and it's spun around 270 degrees. And then I ended up 90 degrees across the racetrack. So I've got left front A arm bent up in the air. A few other things. So you tried to drive off. Cars, got air in the fuel system and shuts off. So as you do, you get out of the car and you cheer to the crowd. Well, went back to the pits. Disappointed. Thought, okay, the jet cars are here tonight. I've got they can put on a good show. Got a bent front A arm. No worries. Got a couple of 4x8 blocks of wood, some ratchet straps, and big bar and blowtorch, and proceeded to pull the A arm back into place and TIG weld the cracks back up into the chassis because he had borrowed a TIG welder from the jet cars, and got it back on the track 2 hours later, and we ran our first ever 6-second pass that night. So that was one of the self-induced ones that you can sort of had a bit of a silver lining to it, but is what it is.
Well, knock on wood, you won't have any accidents.
Well, you race, something sometimes happens. You just got to keep your head on your shoulders and not drive outside of yourself, which I've done a couple of times, unfortunately, but I've widened up of late. Cost money.
Yeah. Now, what would you consider to be the milestones of your racing career?
Several. It's all been your bucket list stuff. You make goals and try and attain to them, but just racing with Dad, personal, running great times back there, and coming to America. Who gets to do that? Who gets to leave their country and go race on a circuit in another country? Fortunately, I come from a phenomenal country, and I now live in another phenomenal country. Running with Graham Cowan, running his operation, setting the world record, getting the Colettas, winning national events. So I've got 3 Wallies. I've got one that we run one in Reading, which I have. I've got the other Wally back at my dad's house. That's from Dallas, and my brother's got Chicago. So there's a couple of achievements in designing, engineering, building, tuning, funding my own race car, and running 6 seconds at 200, and then it evolves from there. Okay, let's try to put nitro in it and achieve that. And you never stop. It's never get to one goal and then you're done. It's okay. What's next out there? What's the next one we're going to try and achieve that's within our budget, within our reach? So it's ever evolving. The question. There's not one specific moment.
Now you still have a lot of stuff on your bucket list as far as drag racing.
Oh, always. Yeah, it changes every year. Evolves. It evolves every single year. Once you get to a point, you think, okay, well, I think that's now attainable. Let's try and get that. And then so on and so on. Who knows where my goals are going to be in 5 years? I've got a personal rough projection, but it's got to be attainable, affordable, that you can actually make happen and not send yourself bankrupt at the same time.
Now, do you have any hobbies outside of drag racing?
Yes and no. No, motorsports is the main thing that I deal with, but I don't. That isn't my life. My daughter dances. She's a phenomenal dancer. I back her up with that. My wife. We travel. So we go and do that experiences. We like to see the countryside. We like to ski. We go to beaches and so forth. So I've been able to diversify more than just stick with drag racing. There's a whole lot more out there than just that. Although drag racing is a hell of a fun. There's more to life than just that.
Now, do you have a favorite music to listen to?
Oh, I'm pretty broad, mate. I'm all over the shop. I'm techno, I'm heavy metal, I'm disco, as long as it's good. I listen to Elvis, I listen to Roy Orbison, I listen to Pantera, you name it. I'm Western, not a problem.
Now, how about food? Do you have a favorite food to eat?
No. Um, I'm all sorts there too. So now, not a lot of people like it because they haven't really had it right, but there's a good old Vegemite on toast with a bit of cheese. I'm sure a few people would cringe over that, but no, I'm no particular. Whatever's bloody good.
Now, how about a drink beverage? What's your favorite beverage?
Oh, water, and then throw a bit of hops and barley in there every now and then, and I'm good with that.
Now, can you think of one most embarrassing moment you had on the track?
No, not really. No. Everything happens for a reason. What's happened on the track? So no, nothing crazy.
All right. What's been the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
Too many. Too many to really single out. You got having my daughter and my wife involved. There's winning national events. There's races mum and dad, races my brother. Because I fly back to Australia to race with him. He flies over here to race with me. So I can't say one particular one. They're all great.
Now, as far as the three Wallies you get, what was any out of the three Wallies? Was any of them like the greatest out of the three, or they're all equally? Was that any? What I'm trying to get at was any one of those three Wallies extra special to you?
Oh, the first, which is Reading. We've got rained out on Sunday. It had to be on the Monday. So the first one you ever get really is the main one. Until you win a championship, and then that's the next one. But no, the first one's pretty memorable. But so Chicago and Dallas, they're both great. You appreciate them when you get them because they're so bloody hard to get.
Now, if people want to find out where you're going to be racing at next year, what's the best way for people to follow you?
My Facebook page, which is Mathew Leonard Nitro Rat Racing. That's the area that I put everything on. All my race events, or my T-shirts for sale, and anything that's going on history-wise, future. That's how people can find out what's happening with me. Now, I've got Twitter also, but I don't even know how to bloody use Twitter. So I try. I'll see what I can hook up a bit further. Same with Instagram. I got to get a little bit more savvy with that. But at the moment, Facebook's the main one that I promote all of the Nitro Rat Racing stuff out of.
Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do this interview, Mathew.
Not a problem.
You have any final words? Any final words?
No. Everybody that's listening, enjoy your racing. Whatever your budget is, whatever your ET is, it doesn't matter. Go and have fun. Get with the community and enjoy what you're doing there. Run within your budget and have a ball. That's what I look at doing. And just life is short. Enjoy it where you can.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Mathew, and I wish you the best of luck next 2020 with your drag racing.
Yep. Thank you. We'll do our best to get a new chassis going and hopefully get some header flames and get me down there quicker than I've been before.
So maybe next year we'll get you back on air and we'll see how you're doing.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, you have a good night, mate.
You too. Have a good day. Thanks.
Bye-bye.